Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Late Night Gaming Show, already at 10, and Mike has been retransformed back to Jodie Foot. How are you today, Jodie?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good. So I'm your host, Tim Finch, and I hope you're going to enjoy us on this voyage through the week's news, through the laughing jokes that Jodie's... She's laughed already, I'm not even started.
I hate this bit.
We're not even there yet, Jodie. I know. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. We've got some really cool stuff lined up. The topic of the week is a very real passion of mine, so I'm excited about that.
It is.
So without further ado, I'm not even going to waste time on this 10th celebration of the Late Night Gaming Show. Every single anniversary of when it gets to 20, it's going to be special. When it gets to, it's going to be great. So without further ado, we're going to get into Joke of the Week. Welcome back, it is Joke of the Week. So, as always, I'm going to give you a terrible video game related joke. Jodie has the difficult task of not laughing. Last week, Mike decided that he wanted to leave Team Jodie and start his own team for Mike. So, to just ping up on the scores, if she doesn't laugh, if she laughs, I get a point. So, I'm on 1, Mike's on 1, Jodie's on 0.
I think it's disgusting.
Right, so I'm excited about this, Jodie. Here we go. Let's just get excited right now. Let's just get ready. Let's get in the zone, the joke zone. Okay, here we go. Jodie, you ready? Just get ready. That was the joke. That was the joke. Okay.
Give me a second. Okay.
What is Samus's favourite? What is Samus's favourite food?
I don't know.
What is Samus's favourite food?
I don't know.
Metroid Prime rib.
Oh no. It's not even funny.
It's funny.
It's really not.
What is Samus's favourite food? I don't know why I'm struggling to say it so much. Metroid Prime rib.
Absolutely rubbish. It's not even funny. That's the worst thing about this. Oh, it's not even funny. That's the worst thing.
No, Jodie, that is definitely a point for me. I don't know why I've struggled through this one. It's not. I know it's not that funny.
Why am I laughing?
So you can share this with your friends, your family. You can share it with your friends at college. You can share it with your friends in school. You can share it with your friends in work. You can share it. I was going to say share it at a funeral, but I don't feel like that would be appropriate.
I don't think
share it at a wedding. If you're
best man,
your best man, and you're struggling for material,
or the dad of the groom, no bride.
The dad of the groom. You could be the dad of the groom, I guess. But if you're struggling for material and you've got that big speech coming up as a best man,
don't put that in.
That could be your opening, and you sorted.
Because the thing is, that joke would be the lowest of it all, and you can only go up from that, guys. You can only go up.
So to sum up, what is Samus's favourite food? Metroid Prime rib. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into not the news.
No.
It's what we've been playing this week.
Yep.
Can someone tell me what's out this week? Hey-oh.
Okay, welcome back. It is time for what have you been playing this week. So Jodie, you've had 2 weeks of playtime while you weren't on it last week and Mike was on it. So tell us, what have you been playing over these last couple of weeks?
What have I been playing? That is a good question. I have been playing Fortnite.
Nice.
Just been doing a bit of grinding, getting a bit better, and it's not paid off. Then I also played Monster Hunter. Tried to kill the little. Well, I won't say little. The big electric monster that just keeps hitting me. Can't kill him, so I gave up on the game and walked away.
I'll help you out, Jodie.
Okay.
I've been wanting to get back to it, but I've had so much to review and stuff.
Yeah.
So
cool. I gave up on that, and then I played some mobile apps that I would tell you the name of, but I can't actually remember at this moment in time.
It's not Cooking Craze, is
No,
it?
it wasn't Cooking Craze. I kind of gave up on Cooking Craze
Yes!
when your wife beat me.
Yes, I know. She's the killer of games, isn't she?
She is, especially mobile ones. She just walks in, she's like, I'm here, takes over, like doubles your level before you even get there.
Literally catches up in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all I've been playing, really. So what about you, Tim?
So, so over the last week, as I said last week on the show, I've been playing Bayonetta. So I've been giving that a test. I'm not going to say loads about it because I'm going to talk about it more in the reviews section, and in the topic of the week it's going to come up. So I've been playing that. I've been enjoying it to some extent. I understand why people love it. It's absolutely mental. Like it's just crazy what happens. The whole thing.
Yeah, I watched some videos.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. So I've been playing that a lot. I also caved. I caved and bought Gear Club Unlimited on the Switch.
Did you? Oh.
So I was in two minds about this because I've played the mobile version. I wasn't that into it. It was all right, but it's something about I'm just not into like driving games on mobile anymore.
Oh no, I really
the
like
controls.
That game.
I don't know what it is about it. But I really wanted like a sort of a car simulation game on the Switch, and it just kind of fit that. And then it was going reasonably cheap on Amazon, so I just went for it. So I played that over the last couple of days, and I've actually been really enjoying it. The graphics aren't as good as I would want them to be, but apart from that, like, it's really fun. And I've been having a good time with that. I was supposed to finish Bayonetta yesterday, but I ended up playing that, so I apologise. So I've been playing those two games mainly. And then, and of course, I finished Shadow of the Colossus, which, again, I'll talk about more in the reviews, but whoa. Just whoa. We'll get into that a bit later as well. So it's been good. Nice variation this week. I just really want to... The thing is with me right now, I just want to focus on one game, but there's so much coming out and stuff. I just can't keep up. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when I was a kid, when the January to February months were just quiet. Just nothing happened. And yet, these days, it's just mental.
It's the busiest time of the year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Jodie.
Unless you're reviewing them all, then...
And then, maybe not. So that has been, what have we been playing this week? That ended on a depressing note, Jodie.
It really did.
So when I said it's the most wonderful time, yes, we know Christmas is the most wonderful time.
But that's in December.
But that's in December. We're in January now, and I'm trying to brighten everybody's day.
Oh, we're not. We're in February.
I'm trying to...
Going into
sorry.
March. Just put it out there.
This is what's going on at the moment, Jodie. I'm trying to brighten up the January and February blues. So I'm going to say right now, the Switch is awesome. Everything else sucks.
Oh.
Nah, I'm lying. I've been enjoying my PS4. I've been having a good time.
Okay.
I got my Xbox One controller. We got an unboxing on the website, and
go check it out.
And I've not played with it on my Xbox yet.
Okay. Because
I've not touched my Xbox, so it kind of defeats the purpose of getting a controller. But this just took a turn for the worst. So I'm going to move on to the news.
It's time for some news, yeah. It's time for some news.
Welcome back to this more coherent section where we don't go off on weird tangents and depress everybody. It is the news. So we've only got 4 items on the list today. It's been a bit of a slow week, which has been nice. Not too much to catch up on.
You had a massive week last week, didn't you?
It did. It got kind of crazy. So definitely watch last week's episode if you want to see all the E3 madness that kind of got unleashed. And yeah, just crazy stuff. But we have still got relevant news for you today. So number one, the founders at CGNgames actually left the studio this week. So this was a rumor, and then it actually Kotaku, the website, games journalist website, they actually got statements from them saying that they actually were. So if you don't know who Sledgehammer is, Sledgehammer actually just made the most recent Call of Duty games, so World War II. These two guys left the company that made Dead Space and things like that at EA. So they're really like creative people. So to me, it's kind of a bummer that they've left.
Yeah.
I actually, controversially, they actually make some of my favourite Call of Duty games. Advanced Warfare I thought was amazing. I don't get the people who say Advanced Warfare ruined Call of Duty because it added jetpacks, but then everyone goes, oh, like Black Ops 3 is one of the best Call of Duties ever. I'm like,
yeah, I don't understand.
Black Ops 3 has jetpacks, people.
Yeah.
Advanced Warfare was amazing. So good. It had Kevin Spacey in it, in his prime before the bad stuff came out. So I'm living in that dream world where that didn't happen. But it was so good.
So do you think they brought it back with the World War II? I think they made it better with the World War II.
I wasn't that bothered about it going back to boots on the ground, like a lot of other people were. I'm not that bothered. I was actually... I think I think they were getting a bit away from themselves with the whole space thing. I mean, Definitely. I actually think Infinite Warfare was really good. The multiplayer was trash, but the actual single player was really good.
Yeah.
But I actually just like that Call of Duty were trying new things. And to me, going back to World War II, I'm like, I get why they're doing it, and I get why people are excited. But even people are complaining about this. I just feel like people just want to complain in general. But I like it to evolve and get different, be diverse and different. So I just hope it doesn't stagnate on the boots on the ground stuff forever. But I thought it was a good game. I thought it was done well. And like I said, Sledgehammer, they're just really good at like innovating on the formula. But I think that's down to the two guys who founded the company. So these two guys are basically, they've left. And I touched on this a few weeks ago. So it actually came out that Sledgehammer didn't want to make a World War II game. They actually wanted to make Advanced Warfare 2, which I would have been like loving. But they actually got forced. They didn't say forced, but they did, obviously. They got forced to make World War II because of the way the situation was going. So I wonder how much of that has impacted on this decision.
It's probably a lot, isn't it?
But basically what they're going on to basically... They're still staying in Activision, which I was surprised about. But basically their job is going to be to... it's based on when people come in and pitch new game ideas. They're going to be basically the people who judge, which is actually a really good job for them to do. But I think it's a bit of a shame that, like... Yeah, I mean, one thing that's really interesting, if you don't know, I'm going way off topic here, but it's pretty crazy. So originally, before they made Sledgehammer Games, they pitched a Call of Duty game to Activision before they were even a thing, and it was actually a third-person Call of Duty game, and I'm pretty sure it was based on Rome, and like Roman, and like.
I'd be into that.
It looked. I think there was actually a bit of footage that got released somehow or leaked. It looks so good. And I'm like, get it out, guys. Get it out. So I might be going crazy, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But yeah, I just hope it just doesn't stagnate now and just goes into just your typical... I think Black Ops 4, they think the next Call of Duty is going to be Black Ops 4. And it's supposed to be boots on the ground in modern day. And I just hope we don't just stick with that now. It's just going to get boring. So...
Definitely.
I apologise for my off-brand...
It was random.
Rant. There you
like
go.
Normal.
So that's something interesting anyway. Number 2. So really random. A browser-based PSN has launched. So on your computer now, you can sign into the PlayStation Network and you can see if your friends are online and send them messages and do all the things that you can do on your phone anyway and do on your actual PS4. So that's... kind of cool. Do you think you'll ever use it, Jodie? Nope, me neither. That was cool. Number 3, it's the return of the scumbag EA. Woo! You excited about this?
Nope.
So Electronic Arts are making scumbag moves as always, and that is that. So we already kind of knew. There was a rumor going around that that Burnout Paradise was coming back. People love, but I actually liked the older Burnout games. I didn't really play Burnout Paradise, but people love this game. Love it. They're remastering it. I'm putting microtransactions in. Why? But why? You're remastering an old game. What, are you going to take content out of the game and then make you pay for it in microtransactions? Or are you going to put new stuff in which we don't need?
Do you know why they're doing it? Because they're greedy. That's what it is. Greed.
You would think they would have learnt the lesson by now.
Yeah, Star Wars, what they would have learnt.
But they literally put it in, and I'm just like, this is just where I'm like, they're going a step further. This is a remaster of an old game that they had nothing like that. Why is it here?
They just disappoint and continue to disappoint. They're like that. Do you know when you have... I'm not going to say it. Don't matter. Carry on. Just disappoint. Just disappointing.
I mean, I just in my head, I turned EA into... I was going to make words out of EA. I'm not going to do it. It's going to offend people. Yeah,
that's why I shut up. I like to keep your mouth shut.
Okay. I think, let's just say EA stands for everyone's angry. There you go. Everybody is angry. That's what EA...
Because he seems making that a complete goal at the minute.
So. I think apparently I've heard as well There's a rumour going that Disney's trying to bring back the license of Star Wars from EA.
Good.
I know.
Good.
Give it to somebody who actually cares.
Good. Going off on a random tangent right now. Did you know that Disney have opened a Disney home store? So you can go into Disney World. I think it's in Disney World, any of the Disney Worlds, and they've literally got a store that's just full of home stuff. So you can go buy pillars, you can go buy stuff for your walls.
Wait, but why would I go and buy a couch in Disneyland? How do I get it home?
Well, you get them to ship it to you. That's what you do.
This was such a random off-topic thing, but like, that's interesting information, guys.
I know. I just found it out the other night and I was like, when Disney comes up in this show,
I don't know how to respond to that, Jodie.
I'm not looking to it fully.
This is the weirdest episode of the Late Night Gaming Show we have ever done. Let's hope that not every episode 10 will turn out this way. Episode 10 is only one episode. Let's hope that not every numerical... I don't even know what I'm saying. I know, I was trying to make it sound smarter than it was, but basically every 10
Just stick to simple words.
Oh my gosh. We need to pray, Jodie. We need to pray that something changes. We apologise for this.
Anyway,
number four. I'm ready. I'm psyched. I'm good to go. Let's do it, Jodie. Number 4, Metal Gear Survive. So we predicted bad things, didn't we? We predicted it right here on the show. I said, don't buy it. It's going to be the worst thing ever.
We did.
So they didn't send out any review copies of games to any of the media, which usually is a bad sign. It is a bad sign.
It's always a bad sign.
Apparently, it's just really bad. I'm not reviewing this game out of principle anyway, because they're just, again, this is Scumbag Company number 4. Number 4. Who are the other 2? You got EA number 1. Mm-hmm. Who are the other 2 in between? I will let you know as the show progresses who the other 2 Scumbag Companies are. But apparently, it's just awful. It's just like really bad. So I've warned you, if you're there now, if you're listening to this podcast right now, or this show, if you're listening to this show while you're playing Metal Gear Survive and you're thinking, I should listen to Tim. You know what? I have no sympathy. I warned you.
You did.
And you put yourself in this situation, so you know what?
It's your own fault.
I have nothing else to say. And on that note, let's head into section 4, which is what is out this week.
Can someone tell me what's out this week? Hey-oh.
Welcome back. It's time for what is out this week. We have got 4 main games. I'm actually going to add a 5th, which I forgot about, but there's 4 main games. So, number 1, we have got Payday 2, which is coming out on Switch. This is very high profile for Nintendo Switch. It's another first-person shooter, an online first-person shooter. I just discovered today there is a lot of controversy around this game now because the game apparently isn't the latest version of the game.
Oh, right.
So, somebody got the copy of the game early, apparently, streamed it, and they actually found that there is content missing. So basically... The Nintendo Switch version is something that has got the patch that was released, like, let's say, it was something like July or August. Mm-hmm. But there's been a patch since then, which came out just before Christmas, which actually added a bunch of stuff. And nobody can fathom why it's not the latest version. It will come eventually in an update, I'm sure. But why? How long do you need to work on this thing?
I don't know.
Apparently, though, the PS4 and the Xbox One versions are behind the PC version. So there's actually content of them missing.
Oh,
it's
no.
PC versions. I'm like, what?
See,
I don't know what's going on.
When I looked at this today,
yes.
I literally, they were going, oh, it doesn't look as good, and when you go into start rooms and all this, and it just looks really bad. I was just like, why would you let a game go out like that then? Without going into, content being missing, and they're already saying, oh, it looks bad. Why would you let it go out? You're just making it worse than what you think.
It's a bit weird. It's a bit of an odd one.
Bit weird.
But so this game again, this is another controversial one. So I mean, we talked a million times now about violence in video games, things like that. Mm. So this is one of these ones where it's like you got to really think about how you view morality in video games and stuff. Because this is basically the sort of premise of this game is that you're robbers basically, and you're going in and robbing stuff, and you're going to be shooting police officers and things like that. So just bear that in mind. I actually remember I got this pointed out to me years ago when Payday, I think it was the first Payday came out, and one of my mates actually, who was a Christian as well, I was playing it and he was like, this game's terrible. You're literally going into a bank and shooting people, and I was like, you know what? It is. I had this revelation. I was like, this is actually awful. But there you go. So Payday 2 is out on the Switch. That comes out on Friday. Number 2, we've got Pac-Man Championship Edition 3, which isn't right. It's Championship Edition 2. So it says 3 on my sheet. It's 2. Oh my gosh, Championship, like Pac-Man Championship, the first one, was so good.
I just don't get it.
It's like Pac-Man on its own. I'm sorry. I know some of you older guys out there think it's amazing. Pac-Man's boring. It's boring.
It's just rubbish.
Like, you can do 1 or 2 levels and it's fun, and then it gets boring. Like, this is so good. It's so fun. It mixes it up completely. It's super fun. I definitely recommend that one. That comes out on Friday as well. Number 3. This is so random. So Wolfenstein 2 came out just before Christmas, around, well, I think it's like November time. We're getting a release of Wolfenstein 1 with the, it was kind of like a miniature game that got released after it called The Old Blood. So they're releasing a physical combo pack of the 2. Now, I want to point out that I actually bought, essentially on the Xbox store, I bought essentially what is this for about £3 back in Christmas. So I'm like, why are we getting a release of a physical version of the same thing for £25? When the second one's out, why aren't they doing a bundle with them all in it? I need an explanation, Jodie.
I think that should take third place.
So, and then my second question, and this isn't me just being like everything needs to come out on the Switch, but why is this not coming out on the Switch? Not because I'm like, oh, everything should be out on the Switch, but Wolfenstein 2 is coming to the Switch this year.
So why haven't they done it already?
So why, if you're releasing this, to me, I'm like, the excuse for releasing this could be like, oh, we're going to bundle this in for a Switch version so that people can play that first and then get Wolfenstein 2 when it comes out. But they're not doing that. They're releasing a dual pack, which already exists essentially for the other 2 consoles, and then not releasing it for the Switch, but then bringing out Wolfenstein 2 for the Switch.
Why?
Who made this decision?
Someone that clearly doesn't know what they're doing.
So there you go. If you want to waste your money, there is a great opportunity, or you can just go and buy it on the store when it goes on sale, because it goes on sale every 2 minutes for dirt cheap. So there you go. Number 4, this is a game I am really excited about, but I'm not going to buy it till next month. It's called Old Man's Journey.
Yeah.
And it was one of these games where I was like, that's an odd title. I watched the trailer and I was like, emotional, Jodie. It was emotional. I showed my wife and she was like, this looks boss. Which it should be the other way around, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying because she's a woman, but I can't get out of this conversation now without looking. Because I was going to say she's the more emotional one, but then that gets me bad. That's bad points with her. But then if I'm like, oh, she's more emotional because she's a woman, that's just sexist, and I don't even believe that. I don't even believe that. I just want to point that out. So there is no way out of this conversation where I don't come out bad. So what I'm going to say is...
What do you mean, come out good?
What I'm going to say is, for people who know me and my wife, you would think that she would be the more emotional one, and I would be the whatever guy.
Yeah,
but in fact, it was switched. Nintendo Switch. So I feel I actually got out of that quite well. I gave a good positive out, and then I finished with a joke. Okay, episode 10 continues to be weird. Yeah. I just want to point out that I don't think women are emotional.
Okay.
I don't feel that my wife is over emotional. I just want to point out that people who know us are dynamic.
Well done for filling in your hole too. So anyway, on the line of Old Man's Journey,
yes,
I thought it looked really good, like art-wise.
Oh yeah,
it just looks amazing.
100%.
But when I was watching it, I was like, I don't actually like the game. Because it's just basically you're watching this story that I think looks really good, and I think it's going to be a good story. But you're literally just like pushing mountains up and pushing them down, and then you're pushing railing up and you're pushing railing. I'm like, so basically it's a puzzle game. That's what it is.
But is it?
I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't really know, but I'm kind of like it's only £9. It's not expensive. And that's why I'm kind of like, I think I'm going to wait till March. Yeah. I'm going to get it right at the start of March before there's a whole load coming out after that. But I just think it looks really unique, and I really want to try it.
I think the artwork looks amazing.
Yeah.
It was all hand drawn and stuff.
So I'm kind of intrigued with that. But that's the thing. Then I'm kind of like, oh, should I just wait for it to go on sale? I don't know. It's one of them. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then a fifth one I'm going to add. There's a fifth one called Owl Boy.
Owl Boy.
Yes, it's called. I had the same reaction, and then again I watched the trailer, and I was like, I think it's the music. I think I get impacted by music. That's why, right? Don't judge me. See, I'm the emotional one, Jodie. I'm not sexist because I'm the emotional one.
I think it's just the music side.
I think it is, but when I watched that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild trailer, when they did the actual presentation last year in January,
yeah,
I wanted to cry. I don't even know why. It was the music. It was so good. You know what? We should have a little clip of it going on. I'm just gonna the moment.
We're just gonna put it on, guys.
Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing.
Save her, my daughter.
Oh, don't know what that was. Yeah, but the music I think affected me a lot, but it just looked really good. It kind of looked like a sort of side-scrolling platformer. But with a bit of a unique twist. And I looked at some reviews that popped up, I think it was yesterday, and it actually got really good reviews. I think we're talking like 9s and 9.5. So again, I'm interested in that one, but I think that one was more expensive. So that's another one to watch out for. So as always, Jodie, my gosh, what's become of us this episode? I just
got so excited about being the 10th episode. I think that's what's happened.
So out of those 5 games, as always, which one, if I had money burning in my pocket, if I I have this just sense that like a game needs to be bought today, what am I going to do? I'm stressing at home. Again, I'm listening to the podcast. I've just been judged and I'm regretting my decision of buying Metal Gear Survive. What game out of those 5 would you recommend?
I would go for Old Man's Journey. Just
go on, Jodie.
It's something different. Because you look at the others and you're like, Pac-Man, yeah, that's been around for like years. Payday 2 is just another first-person shooter. And then Wolfenstein, we don't know what's happening with that, so we don't care. But Old Man's Journey, all the way.
So not Metal Gear Survive?
No.
Okay. You know, I didn't even put that in the out this week. Technically, it came out a couple of days ago, but I'm like, I would have put it in usually. It's just embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Okay, yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. Same for me. So deals of the week, I'm not going to really go through all them because they're all basically the same from last week. So if you didn't watch it last week, then, well, mate, what do you want me to do?
Go back and watch it.
But I just to reiterate, the Switch still has quite a big sale on, so there's actually some really noteworthy games on there that are still on sale, so I definitely recommend checking that out before they go. And so we're going to go to section 5, which is reviews of the week.
Oh, it's time to get funky. The reviews of the week.
Welcome back. It's time for reviews of the week. So this is where I give you quick fire reviews that I'm not going to do big reviews on because I haven't got all the time in the world to do it, which I wish I did, but I don't. So, starting with number 1, it is a very controversial one, and it is Bayonetta for the Nintendo Switch. Do you know anything about Bayonetta?
No, it just sounds like Viennetta, like in the ice cream.
So, you know what? I'm going to run with that. We're going to have a picture on of Bayonetta in the background. Her hair looks like a Viennetta. I'm going to go with that. But, so Bayonetta, this is going to be the hardest game to review and explain. Because if I just gave you the straight up premise, you're going to think I'm a terrible person.
Why are you playing?
And that this is the worst thing for Christians to play. I'm not disputing that might be the case.
You're already being judged.
But I'm going to try my best to give you the context. So
okay.
I'm going to say the initial premise.
Okay.
You're going to judge me. I'm going to accept that. You're going to judge the game. That's okay.
Okay.
But allow me to explain further.
Okay.
More deeply, because it's not what it sounds like.
Okay, go.
So the premise is, you are a witch. We're not off to a great start. You're a witch. So it's not...
First problem.
So it's not a witch in what you think witch. So I'm going to say that.
Okay.
Okay? So you're a witch. You have woken up at the bottom of the lake in a coffin. So you don't know why. You just woken up. This is the premise of the game. This isn't how the game starts. But you wake up and you've essentially been out for I think something like 500 years and you have no idea what's going on. So the game is kind of you trying to discover who you are and why you're in a position that you are, right? Okay. So you start. This game is absolutely crazy, and this is why people love it. It doesn't. Most games, right? I do say most games. They have like a really explosive start, and it's like crazy stuff happens, and it's big explosions and all this mad stuff. But then the rest of the game isn't like that. It's usually it then settles into a rhythm where it's very much like turns into your typical game, which is like run around and do this and do that. It's not like as massive as the start, you know what I mean? Usually something crazy happens. So Call of Duty, for example, it'll be some massive action scene with tons of explosions and all these special effects, and then you'll get to the next game, it'll be like go to A to point B. You know what I mean? It goes into a very steady pace then.
Okay.
Bayonetta does not do that. It is just madness from start to finish. You start, this is how the game starts. You're on, imagine Big Ben.
Okay.
It's flying through the sky. It's just flying, like Big Ben is flying through the sky, and then all these things are attacking you, and you're fighting on this essential giant clock that's spinning like this, and you're going upside down, and the whole battle's going mental, and it's just like everyone's shooting everywhere, and it's like boom, 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 and it's just mental, and that's the start, and that continues for the entire game. That craziness from start to finish, you just never know what is going to happen.
Wow.
There's a point where you're trying to get to this island on this helicopter.
Yep.
These ginormous missiles, probably the size of this room, get fired at you. You know what you do? You go, no problem. You jump out the helicopter onto the missile. You start riding the missile, going back, and then all enemies come in and you're fighting on a missile.
Why?
What the flip? It's so crazy, and that's kind of the fun of it, that it kind of just doesn't let up. So then,
that's good. So
the elephant in the room is you're killing angels. So this is where everybody's like, this is the worst thing it's very violent in terms of the things that you kill and how you kill them. I was told there was a lot of swearing in it. I'd say it's got swearing in it, but there's not that much. It's more than what I would have expected out of an 18. So the swearing isn't too bad. And then probably my actual biggest issue with this game, you're thinking, hold on a minute, you're killing angels, how is that not your biggest issue? I'm going to explain in a minute. But my biggest issue is that the main character is heavily sexualized, like heavily. So I was going to get the amiibo out for you so you could see it. So her costume and stuff, it's not like, it's very tight. That's how I'm going to say it. So you're not seeing stuff. It's very tight. And she walks around in a very, I don't even know, how do you walk around in a sexual way? I can't really describe it. But it's just the way she moves and everything is just very heavily sexualized. Okay. And I don't agree with this point where a lot of people are like, oh, it's fine because she was designed by a woman. Guys, whether a character is designed by a woman or a man does not change if the person is a sexualized character. So she just is a very sexualized character in just how she is. And I mean that she's in a sexual way. She doesn't do anything, there isn't any sex in the game.
Okay.
But it's just what she does. And to sort of reiterate this point, like I had it on the screen and my wife walked in and within about 10 seconds she literally went, why are you playing as a stripper? So I mean, and all I did was walk forwards, you know what I mean? So it's difficult to explain. It's like, I think a lot of people, what I'm saying is I think a lot of people could watch just like the normal gameplay and not think that. Not like they're not going to think it's sexualized, but then I think if you've got your head screwed on, you know what I mean? I can't really describe it. So this is the problem with the game. It kind of is and it isn't everything. So it kind of is really violent, but then it's kind of not at the same time, because the things that you're killing, it's just like killing like some weird made up. It'd be like getting a Goomba and cutting it in half. Like, it's violent, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, this is the thing with the game. It's all like it is and it isn't. So to explain the angel thing, right? So this isn't angels in the way that we think angels. There isn't. It's not the Christian God. It's not angels as in heaven angels and all this. It's kind of just like they use the word angels. Yes, you understand. So this is why it's just really hard to explain. So then on the witch point. So the premise of the game is that you have, think of it like a light side and a dark side.
Okay.
And these two sides, they're kind of like, it's just so complicated to explain. So there's like, think of it, there's three.
You're doing well, Tim.
Imagine there's like 3 versions of this room right now. So there's a room that's like the light side, there's a room that's the dark side, and then there's our version of what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And these 3 sort of worlds are separate but together at the same time. And you need all 3 for everything to function. Yes? Mm-hmm. So it's not like the light side of the good guys and the dark side of the bad guys. It's not that. It's just different worlds. They're just called different things. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So on the light side, there's a thing called the creator. I'm trying to explain all this because I can't really talk about the game without you understanding a little bit.
Okay.
So if you think the thing in the middle, the person in the middle that control that is called the creator. Now don't confuse that with God.
Okay.
Yeah. So this thing called the creator split into these 3 things. And the way that you get the creator back together is through these 2 stones. Now, the light side holds 1 stone and the dark side holds another. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the only way you get the creator back is if the 2 come together. Mm-hmm. Now, the character you play as holds one of the stones. Okay. And I'm not going to pretend like I understand the story fully, because I don't.
Okay.
But she's trying to get the 2 stones back together for some reason. I don't know why. And she doesn't seem to know why either. Okay?
Okay.
Stay with me. We're going to get there.
So does she have the light stone or the dark stone?
I think she has the dark stone, but I'm not 100%. So, the thing that makes everything go crazy is that these are all supposed to stay separate, these worlds. These versions, right?
Of course.
So, what happened was, on the light side, they have what they call sages, and they're kind of like, they protect their version of the stone, and they protect their world. On the dark side, they have what they call Umbran witches. This is why it's not witch in the sense of you think with a pointy hat and going around doing magic tricks. It's not that. They have these thing called Umbran witches, and they do the same, but for the dark side, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is, one of them from the light side and one from the dark side come together and basically have a baby. And it basically just, like, everything goes wrong. So it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation, where it's like they're from completely different, and they shouldn't come together, but they do. And then what happens is, they all fall out, and it starts this massive war thing. So the character you play as, I'm not going to ruin the whole thing, because I'm realising I'm about to ruin the whole game. But you're trying to figure out where you are in the whole thing. So what I'd say is, the game starts, I feel like if you played the first hour, you'd be like, this game, I can't go any further, because it's just so, it's on the line between Christianity and not, you know what I mean? And I think it plays with that a bit too closely. But it's actually, the further you go in the game, it's like your character is going on a journey as well. So it starts off like she's really heavily sexualized and like just seems like it's being violent for no reason. But then actually you see, it's almost like the game matures through it as well. And like she actually ends up like, she's supposed to be this woman who's just like, just doesn't care about anything, and she just wants to find out her own thing. But she actually like ends up protecting a small child, and then she comes through the game and she's like growing as this sort of almost like parent figure. And it's actually like, in a game that like this, I just didn't expect that, and that's actually a really good point of it. And that's where I'm like, I don't feel like it will, but in the second game that comes in the package, I'm like, I hope that maturity carries through to the second game. It kind of grows up a bit, but I can't guarantee that, you know what I mean? So it's a really awkward one, because like, obviously from this get-go I'm saying it's not great. And I think if you're a Christian watching this, I think if you don't understand the basis of the game, you are going to be very offended by this game. And that's not me saying like, oh, if you understand it, it's okay to play. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like, I'm not 100% where I sit on it. I think I sit very far in where I'm like, I think the sexualized nature of the game is unnecessary. I don't think it adds anything to. I think it's supposed to be like, adds it's her personality and everything, but I don't feel like it's needed. The violence is again an awkward one because like when I'm talking about angels and when I'm saying like it's not the angels that we're thinking of, like I'm going to show you some pictures of what these look like, and you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I get it. They're not.
Okay.
The like crazy, like this is another reason why people love the game. Like the designs of the enemies are just insane, like absolutely mental, and I'm like, it's just crazy. But again, the light side actually manipulates situations in like it's kind of like almost gets by the end you kind of like the bad guys, you know what I mean? And I actually think in the second game you're actually fighting on both, so it's not like you're on the dark side, you're very much in the middle, you're fighting both things.
Okay.
So in terms of a game score, because I mean that's the first thing we go through, so just off pure gameplay and how good the story is and everything, I think it actually gets a deserved like 8.5, 9 even. Definitely. Like it's just in terms of the actual combat and just it's so over the top and it is really fun to play. And I get why people love it so much. The story is actually surprisingly interesting. I still don't. It's mental, and I don't fully understand it, but it's really clever, and like I said, it's that sort of journey of the character, which is really cool, and it's really funny as well. It's really funny.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it, I'd say, a 9 on a morality score. It's so hard. I mean, it's low. We all agree it's going to be low, but it's just like how low it is difficult. But I am going to give it one of our lowest scores yet of a 2. Because I just think, like, it's kind of got, like, when I'm reviewing a game and I'm looking at the morality side of things, it's kind of like, what are the main things we look at? We look at violence, we look at sex, we look at bad language, we look at just, like bad, like, poor themes. In terms of just like what theme is the game, what's it trying to do. We look at like religion in the game and things like that. I kind of feel like it has everything in the game that other than horror, like when we say horror I mean like gruesome.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of feel like it has everything, but it's just to different extents.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like it's cut and dry, and I feel like the game is purposely trying not to be cut and dry, so it's a difficult one. It is an 18, 155%, which is the highest percentage I've ever said. It's an 18. Do not play this game if you're under 18. Do not give it to your children if they're under 18. That is a big mistake. I think if you're over 18, I'd say just do your research, just look into it. I think you could actually just look at, what I'd actually recommend is just putting cutscenes. The cutscenes seem to be where it's the worst. Mm-hmm. Do that. If you are going to play this game, I'm going to give you a pro tip. So in the first game, at least, in the second game, it does it as well, as long as you've got the amiibo. But in the first game, whether you've got it amiibo or not, you can actually change the costume of the character, and you can change it to Nintendo-related characters. 2 of them, again, weirdly over-sexualized. So you can put a Princess Peach costume on and a Princess Daisy costume, and it is heavily sexualized. Okay. That's a big no-no. In fact, it's worse than the original costume. But you can also put on a Link costume and a Samus costume. 110%, you put that on, I'm telling you, the morality score of the game goes up by about 5. I'm not even joking. Like, the sexuality of the game comes right down.
Wow.
It just really does. And, like, again, this is going to make it sound really bad, but, like, her costume is kind of intertwined with her hair. So if you imagine my hair is my costume, it's all connected. And you have what they call, so when you kill some of the biggest bosses, they call what they call climax something or other, which sounds really bad, and that's because it is. But basically, her costume, which is a hair, goes up into the sky. So she kind of goes half naked. So I say that, she does actually have something on underneath, but it kind of makes it look like it doesn't. You know what I mean? And it gets covered up so you're not seeing anything. But what's weird is if you're wearing the Samus costume or the Link costume or either of those 4, but don't use the other 2, it's bad. If you use either the Samus costume or the Link costume, that doesn't happen. The same thing, the same ability happens, but the costume stays completely intact. So I'm like, honestly, you put the costume on. I've basically used the Samus costume for almost the entire thing, and it makes the game very, just so much less sexual.
So basically, if you want to play that game and you think, oh, it's a bit sexual, just put a Link costume on it.
I mean, in some of the cutscenes where like she does weird, like sometimes she does like a weird little dance thing. The dance still there, but it doesn't look half as bad because she's got those costumes on. And just like obviously all that stuff where that sort of thing happens, it just doesn't happen when you're in the costume. So as soon as you start, switch the costume, you'll have a much better time.
There you go.
And my wife confirmed that, to be fair. So definitely, if you look at it all and you're like, I think I'm okay playing this, I'm gonna go for it. 100% do that. I can't recommend that enough. I just think, to me, I'm actually like, there's no excuse to not. You know what I mean? I just don't know, unless you want the sexual stuff, which is like, well then, all this is pointless. You know what I mean? But as a Christian, I'm like, if you're like, I'm gonna play this, 100% put the costume on and it gets 100 times better. So that is my recommendation. Good. It's good that, innit? Good that, Jodie. Yeah. So just to sum up, it took a long time, but I really wanted to get into that a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to get through that because I wanted to give you the worthy explanation that it deserves.
It's fair enough.
Okay. I forgot to say, like, in terms of how it runs and everything, it's actually one of the best running games on the Switch. It seems to run at 60 frames per second, and it looks great.
I have heard.
Okay. Number 2, Gear Club Unlimited. I never thought I'd buy this, but I did. I'm going to do this so quickly, just brief overview. It's kind of like a mixture. In fact, you know what it is? It's Drive Club on the PS4, but with worse graphics and slightly less to do, and not laid out as nicely. Biggest surprises, I don't know how much you played on your phone, but you actually have a garage and you can actually completely customize it. That is my favorite aspect of this game.
That's what I love.
All the different like machines and stuff you can do to upgrade your car and everything. So there's like a tire station and there's an engine station and there's like a bit where you can like change the look of your car and everything. You can actually like place those machines around your garage as you want. You can put like parking spots and you can have all your cars that you own. You can lay them all out in your garage. It's actually so, I'm like, how has nobody else done this? And it's crazy, but I love that
because they never think about the garage. That's why.
Absolutely. Graphically, it's very average. I don't think it's amazing, but it does have licensed cars, which I think that's one of the reasons I got it, because I think it was this very more. It wasn't Mario Kart, which is Mario Kart's awesome, but I wanted something that was more like a simulation game. So it's like, if you haven't played Drive Club as well, it's basically a mix between, think, Gran Turismo and Need for Speed had a baby, and I regret doing that hand motion. Did you see what I did? Ultimate regrets.
I didn't comment on that. Just go with it.
So, yes. That's kind of the situation. The thing I kind of like and I don't like, the map, I love how it's like the map is very like visual and looks great, but I think it makes it so hard to navigate the races. Like, I have no idea which race I'm supposed to do next. I have no idea what I'm committing to going into. It's very confusing, and that's what I really don't like about it. The online portion of the game, I was really bummed out that it didn't have online racing. And then I basically worked out, it does have an online function, but it's kind of like time trials. And when you go into a race, like an online thing, it's like you're racing against everybody else's time trials, but you see the cars as well. Yeah. I actually think this is the best solution to racing games, because if you go on like Forza, all that happens is that everyone just bangs into each other, knocks each other off the course, and it's pointless and really not fun. So I thought I did a good job on that. Good variation. Cars look cool. I just love how much you're upgrading the cars and stuff is so much like Need for Speed Underground 2, which is just the best. Just need to get that neon in the car. Get the neon on the car. I'm not into cars at all, but I love making cars look ridiculous, like proper street racing cars. If I had the car like that in real life, I'd be ashamed of myself.
I've saw his game.
Yeah, but it's cool. So game score, I am going to give it a 7.5. I think they could do a second version, upgrade the graphics, make the racing more streamlined so you know what you're getting into. I didn't really like that some of the races are really short as well. Obviously they did that for mobile, but it's like 30-second races sometimes, and I'm like, what's that about? So what did I say, 7.5? I think that is a good score. I think they could definitely improve on the graphical front, making racing more streamlined, things like that. Keep the garage thing. That is the best thing I've seen him put in a racing game for years. So good. And then on a morality scale, I literally can't think of anything that's wrong with it whatsoever. So I'm going to give that 10 out of 10. Okay, and then finally, I just wanted to talk about Shadow of the Colossus. The review is going up tomorrow. So if you check back on Friday, around Friday night, it'll be up for you. This game, I'm just going to say, it is one of my favourite games of all time. Just straight up, it is so good. And it's one of these games, it's not like a massively long game. You can finish it between, I think I finished it between 5 and 6 hours. It can take longer than that as well, depending on your difficulty. But this game was just amazing. And I already thought throughout the whole game, I was thinking, like, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's really artistic. It's got some of the best horse gameplay I've ever seen. But I really didn't want to review it till I finished the game, and I'm so happy I made that decision, because there's not a lot of story until you kill the last Colossus.
Yeah. The
last Colossi, and it was just like 20 minutes of just pure madness, and the game just went crazy, and the story just went poof. It was just so good. It was just it's one of those rare things where it has a big twist in a sense at the end of the game, and you just come out of it just thinking like, just wow. My best example of that is BioShock. If you finish BioShock, I was just like, my mind was just blown, and it was kind of like that with this. And it's one of these games where I'm just like, everyone needs to play it.
You said that about BioShock.
Depending on things. Well, depending on certain things. So if you want to know more, if you want to know why I came to that conclusion, if you want to know on the morality side how good it is and things like that, then definitely check out the review, which will be going up on Friday night. So check that out, and I'm sure you'll have a great time.
Sweet.
Happy with that?
I am.
Are you happy with my explanation of Bayonetta in a very confusing way?
Yep, I'm so confused, but I understand it a little bit better.
And I can't wait to show you those pictures that I talked about, and you can be amazed by what the version of Angels like. It's not. Again, I want to reiterate, it's not the same. I have not been spending my time killing God's angels. That's not been happening. Just to point that out. Okay. Great. So I'm glad we've cleared that up. I guess it'd be the like World of Warcraft to have a bad side and a good side, but it's not like Christian. I'm just trying to, and I know some of you there are so confused, and it's because it is confusing.
If you're still confused, just go on YouTube.
Absolutely. So I hope you've enjoyed that section. So we're going to go into section 6, which is topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
Okay, welcome back to topic of the week. Today's topic is something that's near and dear to my heart, as just a pure gamer. Don't look at me like that. So there is a reason why I'm talking about this as well, and it's related to what we talked about before. So today is the topic of the week is collector's editions, the good, the bad, and the outright inappropriate. That is our top. I should have made that my joke for joke of the week, shouldn't I?
Yeah, it's not funny.
So I say that because so we've got the special edition. Let me reach down there. I actually have the special edition. I'll just fling that over there. We have the special edition of Bayonetta 2.
Okay.
And I'm just going to put that down there because we're going to get to that in a minute. So, I kind of got this because I thought, if the game's too dodgy, I can just sell it and it'll make it easier for me to sell. But then I didn't realise some of the bits that were in it. So, we kind of want to talk about like what is kind of appropriate for collector's editions, but also like what makes a good collector's edition. Just straight up. So I'm going to bring this up first, and then we're going to get into what our perfect collector's edition looks like. Okay. So this is the Bayonetta special edition. So the first thing, I just don't think it's a great special edition in general. So this costs, you can get the full game for about 40. Yeah? This costs an additional 30. So the way I always try and look at collector's editions is, you take away the price of the game. Whatever's left is how much this stuff is supposed to be worth. So this is supposed to be worth 30 quid, which I don't agree with, but we'll get into that. Okay. So first you've got this lovely slip cover. It's very small. It's tiny. Like, look how small this is.
Yeah.
It's got a weird little kissy thing going on there. So we take this off. So the first thing, and the only reason I kind of wanted it, is because it's got this kind of cool steelbook.
It looks cool. Looks nice.
And it's very shiny.
Yeah.
We love a good shiny. And it's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. You take this off, and then we get into the most important part of this, and I hate it when they do this. I hate it. What's in this lovely black package? It's some stickers. What am I supposed to do with stickers? So that's my... They did the same thing in The Last Guardian. I'm like, they did a cool statue, they did a nice little art book, and then they gave you some stickers, and I'm like, just give me more pages in the art book. I don't want stickers.
What do you want stickers for?
So I'm not even onto the offensive part yet, Jodie. That offended me deeply. So this is the part where I'm like, this is where I have a massive issue. So in this box, these are called verse cards. So okay. This is the thing, I don't fully know if they are what I think they are. But my suspicion is they are. They haven't come up in the first game, so I'm assuming they're going to come into play in the second game. So these are called verse cards, and they awfully resemble tarot cards, which I'm going to say right now, I mean, I might get a lot of hate for it, I don't care. Tarot cards are dangerous, they're stupid, and nobody should mess with them. I'm going to tell you a little story, and again, you might think it's a lot of rubbish, but I don't care. So years ago, I got the special edition of, what was it called? Dishonored. Mm-hmm. And that came with a box of tarot cards. I didn't know at the time, but it came with some tarot cards, and I just thought, that's so dumb. Why does that exist? And I kind of just left them in my room, put them in a box, and thought I'll never get them out, not a problem. And I literally had the worst week ever. It literally just so much went wrong, and it was literally from the moment that entered my house, the moment it left, it was just an awful week. And I literally, all I could think of was just like what's been the difference in my life that's why I was gone. And it wasn't just like, didn't quite get an A on my test when I wanted to. You know, it's not like that. It was just like significant bad stuff. And I got to a point where I was just like, I don't want... maybe what I need to try is just actually getting rid of these. So I thought I'm going to sell them. And then this is where I kind of had a realisation where I was like, I don't want to sell them, because if this has caused this...
Just imagine.
Yeah, I need to bin them. So I ended up binning them, and then my life went back to being great. So I'm just like, to me, that whether you believe in that sort of stuff or not, I'm like, there was something significant there. You know what I mean? And, like... I think it tempts you as well. Even if you just had them, just be like, I'll have a quick go, it'll be a laugh. Like, it's not a good idea. But with these, really they're like really shiny and they're good quality. And I don't even think that most of them look that dodgy. But it's just why? Why do they think that this is a good idea to put in? You know what I mean? And it just ruins the whole experience for me. So again, this is going to feed into... I'm kind of going to try and hold them up for you. I just think like it's just unnecessary. It's just stupid, and I just wish it didn't exist. And it just looks incredibly dodgy and bad. So to me, I'm just like, just don't mess with this stuff. It's not worth it. It's pointless, and yeah, it's just not good. So that's my first thing. And I just want to kind of advise people. I have quite the wealth of expertise in the collector's edition margins,
it does.
Which again, we will do a room.
Yeah. If you were sat here right now, you'd be like, wow. And the thing is, every time I come to this office, within like a month, there's at least something new every month.
Yeah.
So you come in, you're like, what's new? That's what happens in every single
It's fun though. It looks awesome.
I guess
we'll give you a room tour at some point. But I just say, like, really, if you're looking into collector's editions, things are getting dodgy these days. They are. And
it is true.
There was actually a phase where they kept putting out tarot cards with games, and it was just like, why are they doing this right now? So I just say, do your research, make sure you're not just buying something because it sounds... Because I mean, when I was younger, I was just buying... When I discovered collector's editions, I was just buying everything because I just wanted it. I make it sound like I had tons of money. I blatantly didn't. I had to very much be strategic. You know how strategic I am in buying stuff. But I think you're just going to be very careful, do your research, find out what's actually in them. There was a whole thing, I think it was when... what was it called? What was the game I was telling you about before? Saints Row. I think it was the newest Saints Row that came out when they released it. If you pre-ordered it, you got a Ouija board with it. And again, what makes me just annoyed about it is that people who just probably wanted the game and pre-ordered it anyway, like everybody got one as a pre-order bonus. Like, that's just absolutely crazy to me. But I'm like, so that's forcing people to have them in their houses. And then they did a competition where it was like, use your Ouija board and take a picture and put it on social media. And I'm just like, it sounds funny. It sounds like it's going to be a load of fun. It's not. It's stupid. It's risky. It's just like something you don't want to mess with. And to be honest with you, as a Christian, it's a straight up trap to try and get you into this stuff. It is. So I just say, this is very deep, this section, but I'm just going to say, like, just be very careful, do your research, make sure you're not getting dodgy stuff put in with it. And yeah, just be careful. So that's just that section. I wanted to warn people about that because, again, this is kind of like under the radar. And again, I don't know if that's what it's intended to be. In the second game, I guess we'll kind of find out more.
I don't put it past them, to be honest.
I wouldn't either, and I think obviously the theme of the game would link into it, but we'll see. And I guess I'll report back and I'll let you know. But I just say, just be careful. Just be careful, people, because I just feel like this is a way it gets into your house and it causes you problems. So there you go. It's a shame because the steelbook looks great.
I know.
So
the artwork looks incredible, but
so
it's
Jodie,
dangerous. No.
You're not as into collector's editions as me.
No.
But let's say new game was coming out, your favourite game was coming out, and you really wanted to get that little something extra. It's a collector's edition, you know it's coming. What would be your perfect collector's edition? And this needs to incorporate price and stuff as well.
Okay.
So how much more would you want to spend to get... So like, would you want like just loads of crazy stuff, but you don't mind paying quite a bit more? Or would you want a few little small things and the price is a lot cheaper?
If my favourite game was coming out, it'd be remastered, and
okay,
I think it is coming out anyway. But anyway, what I would want from this game, from this collector's edition, is a boss statue, like really nice statue. Or remember that collector's edition you got, and it was the robot. Remember, and you could control the robot with your phone.
Oh yeah.
Something
that
like
was
that.
Borderlands.
That was boss that. Something like that. And I would happily pay a really high price for that. Well, not like stupid, like 500 quid. I mean, like, we're going 200 max. Like.
Yeah.
But, and then, like, just a bit of artwork from the game. I'd be happy with that. And of course the game, because sometimes they send out collector's editions without the game and you're like, what's the point in that? No, I hate it when they do that, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? But yeah, literally, that's all that I'd want. And probably like, maybe a little statues of like other characters or little things, like if it has a sidekick or something, just a little bits going into it. But yeah, but up to like 200 quid.
Okay.
I can live with.
Okay, so let's say we're putting it together. You want the game initially, which is important.
Yeah, it's
you
always
want
important.
a crazy statue, whether it's big, whether it's mechanical.
I mean, we're looking like that big.
At least. Okay, what else?
For 200 quid. The art book.
How big? Like quite a big one, small one?
Just like... You could go like that.
Okay, so a smallish one, yeah? Okay.
You go like that. And then, I don't know, like a little statue.
A little statue? You want two statues?
But like, just the side characters that you might see in the game. Just do like those little ones. Mm-hmm. And then, I think I'd be happy with that.
Okay.
But like, if the statue could be a little bit robotic, that'd be boss. Okay. Could you imagine if like eyes were blinking?
What about like bonus DLC? So like, do you think that's a good thing or not?
See, I think that's a waste of time.
Okay.
I really do, because it's just like, yeah, it's going into your game, and I think that's cool. But if someone said to me, pay £200, you get your crazy statue that you want, but we're not giving you anything else, but here's a lot of DLC, I'll be like, no. Yeah. It just wouldn't. I'd pay £70 for that, and that'd be it. Like,
fair enough.
What's that DLC going to show off in?
Absolutely. So, for me, I am a bit of an expert in this field. So I kind of have two tiers of what I like. Okay. So the first thing that I really like is like, if the price point is like £20 above, I love it when it's just, I'm so happy when it's like £20 above, you get a nice big art book, you get a steel book for the case, steel book case, and maybe a little bit of DLC. Now, the reason I kind of have a love-hate relationship with DLC in this sense, because on one hand, I think it's ridiculous that You buy the game, I buy the game, and just because I got a bunch of extra random stuff, I get something in-game. As long as it doesn't change the game, I actually want something that kind of like, when I go online or I'm playing, I feel like I've got something special out of it, and I can show that off in a sense.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So like Call of Duty did it. The one I can think of the most, I'm sure loads of them have actually done it, but Advanced Warfare did it, where it's like if you got the special edition of the game, you didn't really get you got a skin for a gun that was unique to that, and you couldn't get it any other way. And then kind of like when you were playing the game, it was something physical you could see that made you feel a bit more special, which I thought was, I like that. So that's my 2 tiers, and a good example of that, if I pull this up, is the Xenoblade 2 Chronicles Collector's Edition. So I think it was either £20 or £30 more than the original game.
Okay.
And I got this just because I was really excited about the game, but I was thinking, the pictures made it look really small. This thing's huge, and if I take... It's got this nice slip cover on it. It's got this really cool bit, but there's not loads to it. But the art book, look at the way this box opens, just absolutely amazing. But then it's got this art book. Oh, I'm absolutely destroying this, but it's fine. The art book is massive, and it's such high quality.
That looks boss.
It's so good, and I was absolutely made up.
That looks.
I was absolutely made up, and this thing is huge, and the quality is just off the charts. And then you even get. Let's not talk about how I got that pin, because I don't want to go into it. But then as well, you got an art book. Not an art book. I've actually just slightly chipped the thing. Yeah. You get a soundtrack which has 13 tracks on it. Great. And then it's got a steel book which I've left over. It's got a steel book as well, and all that for like 20 to 30 quid more.
See, that's cool.
To me, that's fantastic. I actually wish that.
I'd pay the extra.
To me, there's no excuse for every game not to do that. To be perfectly honest with you, and it annoys me when you get the certain types of games, or like Final Fantasy's falling into this trap at the moment, where they'll literally either just give you a steelbook with a bit of DLC, and I do it like that because it's pathetic DLC, or it's like they'll give you an art book or something, and it'll be like over 100 quid. And I just think that is ridiculous. When you get something like that, I'm sorry, there's just no excuse for it. So that's kind of my first tier. I like it when there's a nice substantial art book, there's a soundtrack, and there's a steel book, and that's like 20 to 30 quid more. I'm like, great. But then I like my big, crazy ones. Okay. And the best example of this, one of my favourite collector's editions of all time, has to be the Titanfall, which you can see. Yeah. I'm not even going to bring it over because it's way too big. But we can have a picture of it up. But that was just when the post guy came with it. I don't even know how he picked it up, like brought it in. The box was huge. Yeah, I remember when you opened that. And it felt so special, and it's so detailed. It lights up. It's huge. It came with a massive hardback art book. It came with like a big schematic poster, like a massive one. It was just spot on. It was, to me, it was like, I want that like wow moment when you open it. So for me, my sort of biggest thing is like very much like you. I want a statue, but I'm kind of over just normal statues now. I want there to be something unique about it. That's why I love the Titanfall one, because it lights up. But I think like, yeah, a statue that's kind of like mechanical, or you can drive, or it lights up, does something. I like things that do stuff now. And I always want a big art book. I'm really into art. Throw the soundtrack in there, why not, and give me a steelbook. And I'm done. So that's kind of like my ideal ones. I've got another example of a really rubbish one. If I can pick this up. So this was I think this was £20 more, I think. Okay. So this is the Fire Emblem Warriors for the Nintendo Switch. Okay. And this is where I'm like, it's kind of good and it's kind of bad. So this is the good, the bad, and the inappropriate. This is just the kind of, all right. So it has a nice big soundtrack. Look at that. It folds out into 3 CDs. I don't need that much music for that game. So I don't know why this was like the focal point of the game, and I don't really feel like Fire Emblem is, I mean, it's got good music, but it's not like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need a soundtrack for that game. And then instead of an art book, they offered for this, it's not even packaged well, an envelope with just literally a postcard of each character, and there's loads of them. Why? What am I supposed to do with this? You know, it's not even convenient to get out and just look at. And I'm like, they just literally look like pictures that are off Google. Me.
That's disgusting.
So, I mean, I just feel like there's these things where they try and cut corners.
Yeah.
And I don't get why. I'm like, do I really need a Fire Emblem branded envelope? Is that a feature? So, I don't think you did. No, you didn't get a steelbook in this either. It was literally, you got the soundtrack and you got those postcards and they wanted like 20 to 30 quid more.
Disgusting.
And people didn't buy it.
I don't blame him.
I mean, this you can get this like quite cheap from places now, but I'm just like, why? Like, just why?
Did you get the game with that?
Yeah, you got the game with that. But that's what I mean. I was like, I feel like if it had a steelbook in it, it would have offset it a little bit more, but what is with those postcards? Like, who approved that? But
I
then,
was sick of you said there was no game in that.
I'm going to talk about, quickly, if I can get it out.
It's disgusting.
This is one of my favourite small collector's editions of all time.
Okay.
And that is Metroid Samus Returns. This came with loads of small... This was one of these things where it was like, they've put in unique things and it's really clever.
I think that's good.
So this came with a soundtrack, but not just a soundtrack, it came with music and sounds from across the entire series. It was kind of like a celebration of it.
Nice.
It came with a gold pin badge, which sounds lame, but honestly it looks pretty cool. It came with a little box. It came with a morph ball keyring. Again, sounds lame, but it looks really good. It came with a steel book for a 3DS, which is really like uncommon. It came with a steelbook that was like designed to look like the original Game Boy game, and it's even on the back. It's even got where the little bolt goes into it. It's just really like so much detail put in. And then the art book, because this is a remake of the original one on the Game Boy. It had a double-sided art book, which basically you held it this way, and it had all of the art from the new game. You flipped it over. And on the other side, then you went through it and it had all the art from the old game.
Nice.
And it's just really clever. And it had all these little bits. And literally my whole Metroid little display in my cabinet is almost just solely the stuff out of that. And it just looked really cool. And it was I think it was about 15 quid more than the actual game. So it's just really good. So I'm like, there's just no excuse. And I'm like, the company's taking the mick.
It's like birthday presents and it's sometimes a collector's edition. It's like you get those thoughtful friends that really you can see have thought through your present.
Yeah.
And then you get those ones that have just gone, here's some chocolate.
Basically.
Didn't know what you wanted. Here's a tenner and some chocolate. See you later.
But I just feel like now, as we're moving forward and things might be getting tight with money, with companies and things like that, they're just taking the mick now. And I think Square Enix is the biggest culprit for that now. They are literally, since the Final Fantasy 15 Ultimate Collector's Edition came out, I think it was around 180, and it came with loads of stuff. It came with a full CGI movie. It came with a soundtrack. It came with a full anime series on disc on Blu-ray. It came with the game, came with loads of DLC. It came with a really high quality figurine, which goes for like 100 on its own. And the art book was just incredible. It came with all this stuff, and now they're just throwing out, like, every collector's edition comes out now is between 180 and 190, and it's literally coming with like a statue that's like this big, with a really tiny art book, like really tiny thin art book, maybe a soundtrack if you're lucky, and that's it. And I'm like, they want 180 quid for that, and it's just I'm gonna flip off. I'm about to go full Timmy Rage. This is gonna be a theme, I think. Like, I'm going full Tim Rage. I am so annoyed at the Dissidia NT Collector's Edition of Final Fantasy. Anybody who bought that and tried to justify that it was worth it and it was worth the money, I'm sorry. It's absolutely outrageous. It came with a figurine that was literally this big, and they tried to be like, oh, it's bigger, but it's the sword that comes up to like here. That's still not 180 quid, even if you do. But the figurine isn't. It's about this big. The quality looks shocking, like shocking. It came with a tiny art book. Like, this is a game that celebrates the whole Final Fantasy series. Like, this is like 25 years of celebration, and it comes with a tiny art book. You've literally got the art from like every game you could use. No, you make a tiny art book. You've got, I think it came with a tiny soundtrack with like nothing in it. It came with a pretty rubbish steelbook, and that was it for £180. Like, it stresses me out. Like, you see in full Tim Rage right now, because I've got such a battle inside me right now, because I want to pick up this microphone and launch it basically out my window and hope that it continues its flight and its trajectory and just keeps going all the way until it gets to the Square Enix offices where this was approved. It goes through that window, and then this microphone then bonks the person on the head who approved this monstrosity, and then he goes, "Oh, that was a terrible decision that I made." That's essentially what I want to do right now.
Do you think that they actually just think it through, like before they do it? Like, because I would never agree to send that out to people.
It's just, to me, it's like,
I'd rather lose money.
It's got to the point where they know that gamers will buy it, and they're just throwing it out. But like, the thing is, this thing isn't selling, and their collector's editions are selling less and less every time, and they're staying up on the store. But you know what they do, though? They put it up for this ridiculous price. Then in 6 months, they'll go, "It's on sale, by the way, guys. Quick, get it. It's £150. People then buy it because they're like, "Oh, I need to get it because it's cheaper." When actually, it's not worth 150 quid. This thing,
I wouldn't even pay 100
this
for
thing,
it.
I'm not even joking. If this was like 4 years ago, that would have gone up for 80 quid. And that, it would have come in a little box. The box is tiny, but it would have come like this with a little window in it. You can see the little figure. Go, that looks a bit rubbish. I'll buy it anyway because I love Final Fantasy. I'm not going to do that for 180 quid. So
we need to make a stand.
Yes. So the moral of this story is, like I said, do your research on what comes in it. I sound passionate about this because I am.
It really is.
Do your research. What is in it? Do not just buy something because you love the franchise. Just because you love Final Fantasy. I've loved Final Fantasy since I was a kid. I refuse to buy that because it's just muggery. Absolute muggery. So don't just buy stuff because you love the game. Like, if it's not worth it, don't buy it. Send a message to the scumbags who thought that was a good idea.
Do what we did with VA.
Absolutely. Boycott it. So don't buy it just because of that. And then 3, make sure the stuff isn't dodgy. They can very easily just mask it up like it's something that's cool, or it's not a big deal, or it's just a little side extra. Just like, if it's got things like that in it, even if you're not sure about it, just don't risk it. Don't buy it. You don't need it. It doesn't add anything to the game. At the end of the day, you're buying the thing for the game. That's the most important bit, and we can forget that, can't we, sometimes? You know all about that, Jodie, don't you? Don't mess around with this rubbish, do you? Just the game.
That's all you want. Good storyline in the game.
See how annoyed that collector's edition's like, oh my gosh.
I'm not seeing this upset in a long time.
Go to the Square Enix store. And you know, I'm going to put it in a link in the description. Go to the Square Enix store. Check it out. I'll have it in the description. Click on the link and just look at how awful it is. Then go to YouTube. Go to the official unboxing of it, which they did. And just put a comment in just going like, are you serious? And with that, we are going to finally close on what has been episode 10 of the Late Night Gaming Show, and without a doubt, the weirdest episode we have ever done by a mile.
Yeah.
So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you back here for episode 11, where things will not be weird anymore. It will be good.
Just because it was the anniversary, guys. That's all it is. Because it's the anniversary.
I think every anniversary is going to have a Timmy Rage in it. That's going to be the theme. Full Timmy Rage.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. And we'll see you very soon. And don't forget to rewatch Joke of the Week and watch Jodie hate herself for laughing. See you soon.